I been with you for so long a time, and you still do not know me, Philip? Whoever has seen me has seen the Father. How can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own. The Father who dwells in me is doing his works. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. Or else believe because of the works themselves. Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever believes in me will do the works that I do, and will do greater ones than these, because I am going to the Father. This is good news from Jesus Christ.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
By the way, Greg, I have to acknowledge you for articulating those names of those guys from.
Really? That is where they come from.
I mean, no Gregs or Thomas or George or Rick. You know. So, like last weekend was brutal, right? I mean, I had to do a wake. I went from down here on Route 37 up to St. Gertrude's in Colonia, and it was like just pouring rain for 50 miles. It was so ridiculous, so bad. And then last Sunday was really bad too. So and by the way, it's kind of an interesting example of like the past doesn't indicate the future. So when we think of things in our life, sometimes what we do is we project the past onto the future and think that if this was crummy, then it's going to be crummy. But like this weekend has nothing to do with last weekend. So the past does not reflect the future, which we do as human beings. We typically do that. So anyway, last Sunday I went to, like any American on a rainy Sunday afternoon, I went to the movies and I saw the movie about George Foreman, right, the boxer. He was born in 49, he's 74 now. And in the movie, it starts off where, George Foreman, they grew up extremely poor. Extremely poor was the mom and the 4 kids. And the movie opens up where they have like a hamburger, and the mom cuts the hamburger in 4, and they each get a quarter. And then George Foreman's sister gives him a piece of her quarter to her brother, because he was a big dude. And he was always getting in trouble, and he was angry. He was an angry young guy. I guess a lot of different things that have happened along the way. And unfortunately, he would be like mocked out in school, and probably not a good idea to mock him out because he was like really big. And boy, could he punch, So one thing leads to another where he goes into, I guess in the 60s, it wasn't the boys club, but it was some sort of an American Legion type of thing where guys were able to go there, you got food, you learned a job, you learned a skill, and one thing leads to another, and it's so funny, no, not funny. His mom saved up all this money to buy him Converse sneakers, the PF Flyers from, and crazy, he loved those sneakers, his mom worked so hard, and of course, they're stolen, and then he sees the kid running around with his sneakers on. It's like, dude, like, really? Like, I'm gonna, no, they're mine. So he raged after him and gets in trouble again because he was always fighting. And the guy said to him, he goes, listen, I either have to have you arrested or you have to get kicked out of here because you can't stay for what you did. He goes, please, I can't, I have no place to go. No place to go. So the guy who was in charge of this thing got him into boxing. And he actually wound up winning the Olympic gold medal at the age of 19 and goes on to beat Frazier and loses to Ali and blah, blah, blah. But my point of bringing this up is George Foreman was angry. He was so angry growing up and different things that happened to him. And then he has this experience praying for his sister with a baby. And it works out. And he gives himself to Jesus Christ. He has this thing, he goes like, take me, but let my sister have this baby, but take me. I want to give my life to you. And he has this change of heart, and he gets baptized, and the anger is gone from him. And now he wants to, now that's not good. When you don't have anger is no good, but when you want to box, it's good. So when he loses his anger, it's not good in terms of the boxing thing. But he wants to be a preacher now. So I thought about the thing, and I thought to myself, like, wow. In a way, here he goes from this anger, which was kind of like who he's not, to then giving himself to Jesus Christ. And there was almost like this sense he was restored into being who he really always was. George Foreman really is a sweetheart of a guy. But he had this anger and this attitude of like who he's not. And I thought to myself, like, one question would be, as we're all sitting here right now, when you think about it, who you are right now is like, who I am right now the sum total of everything that I've experienced in my life? That, in other words, is who I am today a reaction to the various things that I've experienced in my life? Now, I guess as a human being, we can't escape that. We have different things that happen, and they affect us, and they impact us. But I had that thought of like, well, if who I am today is in reaction to a lot of things that I've experienced in the past, then who would I be if I didn't have those experiences? Well, so then who am I? Right? I mean, like, in other words, if who I am is in reaction to the things that have happened to me, then that's really not who I am. So as you're sitting here and you ask yourself, who are you? How are you as a human being? Are you the way you are because of things that have happened to you, which are not really genuine to you? They're sort of like out over here coming in and impacting on you. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, are there some things of the way we are that we can drop and let go? Because it's really not who we are. I was in therapy for 14 years. No. But I was in therapy. And my therapist, who was a clinical psychologist, but he was a priest, and we had a chance to talk with this guy. It was like an amazing opportunity. And he told me the story that when he was a little kid, they would go, like, say, at an airport, and when he would go into the bathroom, he'd go to his wife and go, here's my watch, here's my wallet, here's my thing, like as if, like, and the therapist, my friend, who was my therapist, he would, like, watch, he saw his father, so it was almost like, you're going into this bathroom in the airport, you're going to get rolled, you know, like, what's going to happen to you there? You're going into a dangerous place. He's taken everything he's got of value and given it to his wife. And he goes, I notice, like, every time I go to the bathroom in the airport, I get anxious. And I realize that I get anxious when I go into a bathroom in the airport because when I was a kid, I saw what my father did. You know? So here he was experiencing this emotion of anxiousness from something that he witnessed and observed. Now, if his dad was like, I'm going to the bathroom, no big deal, he wouldn't be anxious. So I thought about that, right? Like, so in a sense, there's a part of the way we are that's not really genuine to ourselves. And then here's this George Foreman. Could we say that we give our life to Jesus Christ and George Foreman becomes who he really is? And I'd like to use this example of saying he goes home. He goes into the home of being who he really is. Home is where you get to be yourself and relax. So there's being who we're not and being who we are. And coming home, being at home, is about being who we really are. Being at home within yourself. Now, I hope when we think of the word home, I hope that your experience of home when you were like a little kid was really nice, where you felt loved and cared for, I can still remember these little pajamas I had to have. They had the little cars on them, I had to wear those pajamas every day, and Pop-Tarts and Seal Test ice cream. And, so it's like, I realized though that like not everybody had that experience of home. I hope that your experience of home as a child was warm and welcoming, right? You think of like home, but even if we didn't, we all have an understanding of when you think of like home, home base. Home is like you're safe and you can relax and you can be who you are. And Jesus, isn't it powerful that Jesus gives this example? He's like, where I'm going, you're gonna go. That says that Jesus was like, I'm going home. I taught this gospel. I gave this message about the kingdom is within you. Blessed are the pure of heart. If today you hear his voice, harden not your heart. Where is your heart? Where is your heart? Where is your heart? Love your neighbor as yourself. Don't judge. Don't condemn. Help the poor. This is this gospel. He says, I've done this. And I've given you the spirit of this resurrected presence. And he says, everything I did, now I give to you. You now can do those things. You now are going to be Christ for the people that you meet. You're building up the kingdom of heaven. And again, you can only give away what you have inside. So the kingdom of heaven has to be in you in order to give it away. He says, I'm going home. And where I'm going, you're going to go. So for anybody here, you're grieving the loss of somebody that you love. And of course you're grieving and you're sad about that. But also in the midst of that, can you also have the awareness that if you're wondering like where this person is, first of all, is this person alive? Yes. Absolutely yes. No less alive than when they were in their body. And where did they go? They went home. They went home. So cool to know that the people that you love are home and to live in that and let that be a sense of comfort. And that we're going home. And when we go home, we are going to be most completely ourselves. Who we were always intended to be. And to me, the gospel passage today is saying to us, yeah, we're going to go home, but while we're here between birth and death, what's available to us is to also be at home within ourselves, and to celebrate the beauty and the magnificence of being you. I really think this is the gospel of Christ. It just can't be that you're a sinner and you may go to hell or you're not going to hell, and that's why Jesus came here to save you. It doesn't make any sense. Why would the living God, with the beauty and the magnificence of a day like today, which is like awesome, not reveal himself in the person of Jesus Christ? Thomas, if you've seen me, if you've experienced me, you've experienced the Father. And the Father is revealing in the person of Jesus Christ such an overwhelming love and acceptance and an abundance of who you are, to celebrate who you are, to be home within yourself. Maybe the greatest gift we could give the living God is to give ourselves permission to celebrate and be at home with ourselves.